Yo, 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 and welcome back to Creeps and Crimes
Podcast.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Morgan. Happy Thursday and happy episode 213.
213, I'm glad you remembered. I was a little panicked right there. And I'm sorry my voice is gone, but we have a really big thing going on here. And by that,
a very special guest.
a very special guest.
I'm glad to be here.
And it's Miss Susan.
AKA your favorite Call Susan. Except you don't have to call her if you send in your stories today.
Yep.
Because she's right here to answer every question.
And we are so excited. If you don't know who Susan is the official psychic angelic medium of Creeps and Crimes. Angelica.
I'll be that too.
Yes, of Creeps and Crimes. And this is who we are referring to when we say, please call Susan, because that is beyond our expertise. So
Never beyond your expertise.
and we've had
share.
Susan on before. When was that?
Season 2.
Season 2.
No, season 3.
Three.
Because we were in the black
Yep.
studio.
Yes.
That studio.
Yeah,
been
and that
too
was
long.
it was so long ago.
Yes, it's been too
So we were
long.
like, we got to bring her back. You guys have been requesting, freaking out, asking about it. But Susan, how have you been?
Doing wonderful. Doing
Good.
wonderful. Nice and busy from all the people from Creeps and Crimes, and we're love more. So I love these episodes.
Yeah.
Answer all these things.
And you got a grandbaby now.
I have a grandbaby now, Alice, and she's wonderful. She's 15 months old, and I'm grateful because she reads with me all the time. She sits on my lap and waves at everybody.
Aw.
They're all receptive.
Yes. And we also, in the background here in a little bit, her daughter-in-law, Ellen, who majority of you guys probably talked to if you've booked with Susan. She's like her assistant.
Thank God for
She's-
Ellen.
yeah.
Thank God
She's
for
her
Ellen.
CEO.
She's the CEO of Susan Angel Wings and Healing Things.
Definitely, because life without Ellen, I don't know how I survive.
I know.
So
And,
grateful.
Yeah, she's going to be back here in a little bit. She had to go take Miss Alice home. She came to visit us for a little bit.
That's right.
And what did we do? Susan brought us shots.
Guys.
Purple Jesus. It's a moonshine shot. It's not.
I thought it was weed when
Yeah.
she texted.
All we got a text was okay, yeah, well, Ellen says, I'll be sure to pack her purple Jesus.
Yeah.
I looked at Taylor, we're recording, I'm like, purple Jesus, what is that? And Taylor's like, that's weed.
Gotta
like,
be.
Susan.
They think I'm innocent.
Bring the weed.
Yeah,
And she
Susan's
pulls out
bringing
the
the weed.
jar, and it is like the wrap
looks
on it
like
is like
Kool-Aid.
psychedelic. though.
Yeah.
It does.
And so
it
I
is
was like, is this weed? And she's like, oh, no, this is moonshine.
edibles, not weed.
Yeah, we're more of the gummy girls.
Gummy girls,
Gummy
yeah.
girls, of course, these days.
So, but we tried the purple Jesus. Morgan was not thrilled. She
It was
didn't-
like rubbing alcohol, but like it was a moonshine that I could sip on again.
I could imagine that over ice, just a sip.
I actually have a better idea for it. A shot glass versus the martini glass.
well, yeah, and I was going to bring those. She didn't have shot glasses.
I don't have
She
any
couldn't
shot
find
glasses.
It's just hard to get down. So maybe it would have, and that changes the taste. So maybe it
Yes.
would have
Yeah.
tasted
A
better.
little
And
bit.
did I abandon all my shot glasses with you? Do you have all the shot
I
glasses?
have 2 shot glasses.
See,
There
I
were,
almost
I had
brought
like
'em.
30.
And they both say Luke and Georgia Desmond on it.
Guys, I had like 30 shot glasses that have gotten lost in that move. Unless,
Moves are the worst.
only God knows
What about
that is.
underneath your little bar area?
Not underneath there either. But I got oh my gosh, Susan, do you remember last time you were here, that little bar area that I have
Yes.
down there? It didn't have a countertop on it. This weekend, guys, long story short, I bought a cabinet from Home Depot, and because there wasn't a cabinet in this spot, it should have one. I don't know why it doesn't have one, but I want it to be like a little bar area, and I would like to have like my coffee and my alcohol and everything on there. So I have been looking. I wanted a butcher's block little thing topper for it, and then I want to build like a little fake cabinet looking thing to hide my water machine, because God knows I'm not drinking out of the freaking refrigerator because I'm a freak. I know. And so
not spill water.
I've literally been talking about this for a year now. I've been like, we have to get the top, because up until this point, everything that's sitting on top of this cabinet has been in the top drawer. Like, technically, like you can't pull out the drawer because everything's sitting in it. And my father-in-law, every time he comes over, he gets so pissed at Logan. He's like, have you not gotten her freaking countertop yet? And so this last time that he came, because this past weekend, my sister-in-law got married, guys. It was freaking gorgeous. Go on Instagram and look at all the pictures. And we were having like a little welcome party at our house. So he was like, I'm going to get you one before the welcome party. And I was like, okay, Dennis, not thinking that he was really going to remember it. No, he brought me up a perfectly cut sheet of it's the gold, like, not gold, it's the white quartz or fake marble looking stuff that I have downstairs. It matches it perfectly. It's very clearly
It's
from a
on it
different
right now?
Corey. It's on it down there right now.
I didn't even know.
I haven't
You were
clocked it
looking at
on.
Alice.
Yeah.
I was looking at Alice.
Yeah.
Well, I have a
Drinking
little.
Purple Jesus.
Yeah, I have a little home renovation story.
Oh,
So
I'm excited. Let's hear
the
it.
retaining wall. Taylor picks me up because we had a little Botox appointment.
Yeah, we did.
On Wednesday, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you need to call the landlord. Have they seen that retaining
It looked
wall?
like
it's like
her house was going to fall apart.
like it was about to fall in."
Yeah.
So I sent a text. I don't actually send a text to the landlord. I send a text to the maintenance guy. I'm like, "Yo, can you come fix this? I mean, it's looking a little dangerous."
Right.
So he's out there the next day, and I sent Taylor a picture.
We love
and I'm
this
like,
guy.
we love a renter-friendly landlord special.
Yep.
They had, I mean, this wall, the retaining
Yes.
wall, it's cracked through and through on both sides.
It's
to where it's
shifted
like,
forward.
It's pushing forward into the driveway.
Oh,
and 'cause
wow.
all this water damage. And so they go and slap some cement on the outside of it. They don't worry about the inside. They don't worry about the backside.
You're like, this'll
And
work.
I come
That's
home,
good.
I'm like, wow, that looks messy. Let me tell you something. They were there yesterday. I have brand new paint against the
Shut
whole
up.
retaining wall. It's a beautiful deep
All
black.
they had to do was say it looked messy.
And because
I'm
I
driving
called him and
by
I
there.
was like, yeah. And I was like, hey, are you guys coming back to paint this? Because like the cement was, you could see the cement
Yeah.
was a different
It looked
color.
like there was a snowball
And
fight.
he was like,
Cement.
yeah, we are. And also the water in the garage, it's got a busted pipe. I'm going to come back and fix that. I'm like,
I've only been talking about that
thank
For
God.
secretly.
years?
Yeah.
We've always been quiet about
We
that because
literally-
it says in the lease so that we're responsible for
The pipe.
if pipes get frozen.
Well,
and so I was like,
It's under the house, so you can't be responsible.
Yeah.
Well, and there was an Arctic blast, and it was fine then, but it had a
it's haunted.
crack in
No.
it.
Yeah.
So I did put duct tape around it.
yeah, no, they
And it's
changed.
haunted.
Yeah, it's haunted.
They changed that whole piping all the way back into the haunted portal.
Oh, hell yeah.
So he's like, you got a brand new hose now. I'm like, the retaining wall looks great. I mean,
black too?
black.
Oh.
Now they didn't paint the inside because like where the mulch
Yeah,
is, but
that's
like
fine.
up to the top and down, clean lines.
We could spray paint
It
that.
I was
Really?
just thinking that.
It really looks good,
yeah.
guys.
Get a shaker can.
Yep.
I come home every day. I'm like, they did so good. I want to text the landlord and be like, your boys did great.
Yeah, you should.
You should.
You should text
tell
Because
her.
it was really good.
That would make her really happy, you know.
Yeah, like they did a great job. You have
Yeah.
to come see. I'll send you a picture.
What have
tomorrow.
you, anything crazy gone on recently for you, Susan?
Yes, but
Yeah, a
mine's
lot
not
going on.
not as fun and uplifting. I just want to thank everybody if they had to change their schedule because my mother-in-law died in August and my father-in-law died 2 weeks ago. So we had a lot of schedule changes. So
Yeah.
I'm very appreciative that y'all were understanding and we're trying to catch back up and get everybody rescheduled.
Yeah.
So chaos ensues.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the best thing about you guys is that they're always understanding.
They are always
They're
understanding.
That's the
fantastic.
Very
best
good.
part about our like listener base is so chill. Like
Yeah.
so chill with us.
We're
And
like,
they all
no,
understand.
Yeah,
you
because
know.
everyone's real here. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We're all
definitely.
real in the flesh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
well,
doing
we're
the best
sorry
we
you had
can.
a tough time and for your
But
losses.
we're doing
really
well.
glad to
Yeah.
have you right here in this
I
third
know.
chair with us today.
it's good to be here in this
And it
third
seems
chair.
like shit only goes whack right around the time that we're all scheduled to be interviewing
Yeah.
each other, talking.
Crazy.
I know it's the craziest shit ever. I don't know what we do to the interview when we all get together.
I do want to tell you something, but we're not going to go into too detail because me and Taylor were texting this morning. And we were like, we're not
Oh
telling
my god,
Susan
we
this.
could tell her on Pipe and Hot Goss.
Okay, yeah, we'll tell you on
Okay.
Pipe and Hot.
I'm
We'll tell
like,
you on
oh
Pipe
no,
Podcast.
they're not telling
But
me.
we had a dream.
We-
very
yeah.
similar dreams, the both of us. And she sends me a text, and I'm like, bitch, what the fuck? This was my dream. And I said, but then I said, I am not telling Susan about this. She's going to start diving into it.
Yeah.
And Taylor's like, same.
We are never
but we
telling
will
Susan.
tell you
You'll
on Pipe
tell
and
me
Hot
on
Goss.
Pipe.
We knew
Yeah.
that was not gonna last long. We knew it's like
We're not even 10
looking at her,
minutes
I'm
in.
like,
Do you
I
know
need-
what we know?
I don't want to tell you what I think about when we're coming on here.
Jesus. Well,
Like, no.
and then another thing I'll tell on Pipe and Hot Goss is that I saw I saw a full blown apparition that I didn't realize wasn't
awesome.
a ghost. And like normally I can tell. Like normally every time I've seen an apparition, a spirit come forward to me, I've always been like, I know exactly what you are. I did not know, and that's why whenever I came out, I was white as a ghost because that was the first time I had never not been able to know the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, how many times in my life does this happen every day that I'm seeing someone that's not here. And then I was like, what if I'm in the grocery store talking to that old mama I was talking to on Sunday in the grocery store and she wasn't there?
And nobody's real now.
Like, imagine
now
that.
you're in, and now we're not real, Susan and I.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
We're ghosts.
imagine how many times in my, like, what if Logan's like, there goes my crazy wife just sitting in there talking to herself.
Who's Logan?
Yeah.
No, swear to
And
God.
then all this, you post these episodes and you think you're seeing 3 people, but everyone else is seeing 1.
Yeah.
And that would be insane.
Your Instagram is AWNHT.
NHT.
Yep.
Yes.
And WNHT. Is it Susan _ NWNHT?
I don't know. Y'all
We
made
literally
it.
said it the other day.
I'm like, y'all made it.
I know.
When Ellen comes, we'll drop my Instagram.
Yeah.
Because she'll know what it is.
And then the best way to do now booking with you is to go through text.
Through text.
Yep.
And we'll put the appointment and you'll get a reminder.
Perfect. And
Okay.
you guys know her number, and it's always in our description of Creepy Account episodes, because that's where we're like, please, for the love of God, let's just call Susan.
Call her.
Please call me.
Yes. Okay, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and get into it. Morgan, why don't you hit them with it?
If you're driving, throw that shit on cruise control.
If you got a glass, pour that shit up.
And let's get creepy. Right, I'm here.
Okay, Morgan, let's get with the first one today. And we've got Susan taking notes. Ellen's finally here. She's in the corner. You can't see her behind, but
Give us a shout out. Hello. Hi. All right. So the first one we have is from our Reddit thread, Creeps and Crimes, and it feels so fucking good to say
feels
that.
so good to say it.
It's from user Interesting Crab 2211, and the user used the flag Susan's Stories, and the title is "Can My Daughter See the Dead?" I have been wanting to book a session with Susan for myself and possibly with my daughter, JJ. My husband is a total skeptic of psychic mediums, but he does believe that JJ has other senses. Men, eye roll, make it make sense. I have been waiting to submit this for the next time Susan joins an episode. I hope this makes the episode because I would love to hear your thoughts and Susan's. Beware, this may be long, but I don't want to skip any details. Also, I am not a writer, so I hope this makes sense. To begin, my daughter, now 5, JJ, has always made my husband and I look at each other with questioning faces. From being a little baby that would stare into corners of rooms, sometimes with a smile and others with a concerned look. Here are a couple of stories that have always stuck out to me. I would say that around the age of 2, she would go sit in a corner of a room and just talk. You know, how a 2-year-old talks. Me being me, I have always assumed from the first interaction I saw was that JJ is sensitive and is connected to the other side in a way. In 2020, my father-in-law passed away due to complications of COVID-19. So sorry for your loss. It was a hard time for everyone in the family. I have always told my husband that I will not shelter our children from death. I want them to understand and to be able to ask questions. So with my father-in-law passing and my daughter only being 2, we told her that Grandpa went to live in the clouds in the sky. The funeral was outside at the local park, and it was a small town because of the social distancing precautions. We did have an open casket. Before we closed the casket, everyone in the immediate family went up to place an item in there with him. Well, my husband and I walked up there, and my husband was holding our daughter. We get up there, and JJ looks down at Grandpa and then looks up to the sky and points. And let me tell you, it was not a sunny morning. It was a full overcast morning with fog that was so thick that in the park is the water tower, and you couldn't even see the water tower. So we just moved along with the morning. Nothing was said other than, that's weird that JJ pointed to the sky when we were up there. Not but a month after my father-in-law passed, I found out that I was pregnant. We weren't actively trying, but not trying. We then find out that it's a boy. There had only been girls born. My little boy is the only and will be the only grandson on my husband's side. While my father-in-law was a girl grandpa, he would have been over the moon to have a grandson. Just kind of weird that my father-in-law passes and then I end up pregnant with the only boy. Coincidence? Question mark. Couple months go by, and we needed a life change. So we moved to Savannah, Georgia when I was 6 months pregnant. Well, let me tell you, JJ's little fun interactions continued. If you know anything about Savannah, it has major history. And anytime we would go downtown to any of the parks or squares, she would say, Mom, Dad, look, there's a person over there. But there would not be a person over there. We would just kind of agree and continue on, trying not to spend too much time on it. We then took a trip up to Baltimore. We were out exploring and come across the Edgar Allan Poe Cemetery, which was connected to Westminster Hall. And my husband, being a previous history teacher and history buff, we go in. It was getting late and the sun was going down fast, and we were just walking around looking and reading things. Well, because mom anxiety and a toddler who likes to explore, I had JJ by the hand and was very aware of my surroundings. She kept trying to drag me to the corner of the cemetery in the church, a pitch black corner, and she would say, "Mom, let's go over here."
No,
JJ.
JJ, get your ass back here.
Absolutely not. Nope. She tried this several times, and my husband was completely oblivious to what JJ was doing. I just got a very weird feeling, like I needed to get out of this place now. I looked at my husband and said, "I'm done. She keeps wanting to go over to that corner. It's dark as fuck over there. The sun is almost down, and I am not being in a cemetery at dark." We leave and nothing else.
Interesting.
We didn't talk about any of it. A year passes and we move back to our home state. We visit my father-in-law's grave often and we take our kids. And JJ started to ask more questions revolving around dead people. We would drive past any cemetery and I wouldn't say anything about us passing one. And she would look out the window and say, "Mom, there are so many dead people. Why are they here? How did they die?" I will typically respond with, "Well, JJ, people die from various reasons. I don't know how everyone dies. I don't see anyone. I just see the headstones. There's no one out there." I know, not the greatest response, but what do you tell a 4-year-old? And when we went to visit my father-in-law, JJ would either say to us, "Gampa is here. He is happy," or she will say, "Gampa is not here," and then go wander around to other graves. There is one that she often walks over to. She doesn't talk, just walks over and stares, and we don't know the person that is resting there. So the last thing that took me by surprise was when I was on FaceTime with my sister. JJ comes in and starts talking. She says, "Auntie, my mom and dad died?" What the fuck?
Huh?
My sister and I are speechless, and the conversation goes. JJ says, "Auntie, my mom and dad died." Auntie says, "What do you mean, JJ? Your mom is right there and dad's at work." And JJ says, No, my other mom and dad." Auntie said, "You have other parents?" JJ says, "Yeah. They live in Canada. This child is 4. She does not know Canada. I have never told her about Canada." And Auntie says, "Oh, yeah? Well, tell me more. What are the names of your mom and dad?" And JJ says, "My mom's name is Covey. My mom died by a gun," points to her chest. "And my dad is Kanza. He died in the forest by a bear. I also have a sister." End of conversation. Literally, I was speechless. Like, what the fuck? Is this just a 4-year-old storytelling, or was this something else? Well, that wasn't the end to that. She still went on for months and still brings it up occasionally, telling everyone about her parents and how they died. The story and details never change. It was always the same. Give me all the feedback. I would love to hear what everyone thinks.
Oh my God.
Okay, interesting crab.
Okay, yeah, very interesting crab.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Susan, what did you write down?
She
A
is-
lot. Holy shit. The whole thing just covered.
Interesting crab. Oh my gosh.
So she is talking. She does see people. Cemeteries are huge for little kids. So not only Gampa, but anybody she walks through. Because when I walk through a cemetery, they reach at you and they want to talk. They just want somebody to hear them. So she's open and receptive. She's so little.
Right.
So she's not, as long as you don't say, "No, JJ, you can't do that. They're dead." Because the minute you do that, that closes that veil. So once she goes to school, you need to remind her that those conversations are for home. Because she'll get made fun of. She'll get told she can't do that,
Right.
And then, no, it's not a coincidence that they had a boy. Grandpa had his hand in that right away because he said he was leaving. There was going to be somebody not to take his place, but in addition to him. And then Canada is a past life. That was her previous life.
Yeah. I love
And she remembers that. So when she says, just remind her this is her family now, but the other is a past life that she could probably tell them her whole life.
Yeah.
During that time.
I would love to look up those names. Well, I did see one of the comments on that Reddit post was not me living in Canada and doing background checks on all these people right now. So if that bestie that commented found it, let us know, okay?
So whoever's around when she sees it, she's so open and they feel safe to come to her. So she's not, like when she walks up and there's not a resting place, that person, they don't know who's resting there.
Right.
She said, that person's visiting her. it's almost like there are times people will say to me, I just have to tell you this so someone knows when I'm in a cemetery.
Wow.
And you just listen and you say, okay, well, she's a little girl, so she's going to listen.
Right.
Because they're, in her world, telling a story. She's not scared.
Right.
Because she knows she's safe. Just make sure that she has boundaries, that she has dominion over all things in her world. If something scares her, she has to be able to tell them, okay, go away. I don't want you here. You know, but right now she knows she's safe. But at some point when she can be a little bit more aware, some people sometimes aren't always nice. Just tell her.
Yeah.
No, you have dominion. If somebody comes that's not nice, tell them to get the hell out.
And that applies to the real world too.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly.
Yep.
And with past lives, whenever children get older, it's often that they'll forget those memories.
Yes, they usually will.
Yeah, I would be digging in. I'd be like, tell me more.
Yeah, write
Just
down,
here?
take notes.
So you
of
can
what
look
she
write it all
says,
down.
so you
Well,
can
Auntie
tell.
was on it. Auntie knew exactly what was going
And he's
down.
like, oh yeah,
Yes.
so
Like,
tell
Tell
me
me
more.
more about that. What was your mom's name? Yeah.
So-
what was your home address?
Yeah.
You know, write that down. And it's kind of neat that she might be able to look it up, like you said, research
Right.
it and see.
Right.
Because she's only 4, so her past life could have been recent.
Yeah, her
It-
past life
you
could have
know,
been very recent.
You know,
Wow.
Because she could not have lived that whole past, like a long past life. It could have been very limited.
And
Yeah.
it seemed
and
like
what
it
4-year-old does know about Canada?
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Really?
Yeah, like that's really a lot in her world.
And
to
like,
be
how
aware.
would she even learn about Canada? Like, think about what is exposed to a 4-year-old. Like, very little.
They
would-
are telling her
Yeah,
about
she-
it. So that's really neat that she's
Yeah.
that aware and can say Canada, because I know that at 4 I probably would have been going like, what's
Right.
Canada?
Candida.
literally.
Yeah. All of a sudden I'm getting swabbed.
Literally, you were saying
Candida
funguses.
auris.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Fungi.
Yeah. So let me make sure I hit everything that I wanted to tell her. But by all means, call me if you want to talk. I know I get a lot of skeptic husbands.
Yep.
A lot of skeptic wives when the husbands
Skeptic
come.
husband.
But
Yeah.
2 skeptic husbands. Yep.
Well, Logan's come around.
Logan has come around.
Logan's come around.
We only
Aaron's a brick fucking wall.
Well, but I've only seen Aaron
a couple times.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, Logan took a couple times.
Logan has been woken up with shaking shells over his body.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Logan doesn't have much of a
Yeah.
much
At
hope.
8 in the morning, we're like, good morning, go back to bed.
He'll come around.
He'll come around.
Yeah. Symbols in the corner of the room.
Yeah, come around. We'll give him a couple drinks and tell him, come on, we're going to another party. And
Yeah.
And he'll be good. That's,
they
you're
won't-
right. That's all he needs is a
Yeah,
couple
they
Pull him
drinks.
into the cleansing room, and you start a sound bath while you lay down. Just lay down.
Just lay down,
down.
strap him.
strap him down to the bed. We're cleansing you.
he won't even need strapped then. He'll be
Yeah.
just so
He'll be-
chill.
yeah.
Honestly,
Zen.
he
Yeah.
probably would. He'd be like, okay.
Yeah,
He would laugh.
He'll be like, it's fine, Morgan. Yeah.
Yeah.
His
Exactly.
little giggles that he does.
Yeah. So just give me a holler if you want to talk. I look forward to it. And just talk to JJ and let her stay open.
I love that.
I love that too. Creeps and Crimes is sponsored by BetterHelp.
Hey, Morgan. Thank you.
Hey, Taylor. Thank you.
This month, we are the CEOs of gratitude.
But if there's one person that we don't show enough gratitude in this world, it's ourselves. So a quick thank you to me from
And
me.
Thank you to me from me. Sometimes when life is completely out of control and super stressful, like it has been for me and Morgan in this last year, as you guys know, it's really hard to slow yourself down enough in the midst of it all and think about like, hey, how much work is my mind, body, and spirit putting in to keep me afloat right now?
And if you struggle like us to show yourself gratitude and grace and leniency, then therapy can help.
What my time in therapy taught me were valuable coping skills and ways to set boundaries with not only other people, but myself. It made me feel empowered and as if someone had just handed me this magic toolbox of things that would help me understand my brain.
If you're thinking of starting therapy, then give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible and suited to your schedule.
Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
So let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/creepscrimes today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/creepscrimes. Give therapy a try with BetterHelp. The next creepy account we have is actually from our creepy account email. We went back and forth between our Reddit thread and our email because we couldn't leave you bitches out on our classics. This one is from Tracy using she, her pronouns, and the title is my house ghost just mad or did the doll episode mess me up and I need to call Susan? Hey, besties. I'll try to keep this one short, but I'm obsessed with you ladies and the podcast. I think I either heard of you from Two Girls, One Ghost or in That's Why We Drink, but either way, I am so thankful. That literally is so iconic. Thanks, babe. I've been binging like crazy. Started in August, and I just listened to episode 146 with Susan. That was the last time Susan was on. Woo-hoo!
So you're not missing anything.
No,
She's
back. That's so crazy that you were listening to the episode with Susan, and you don't, because she's not even caught up. So like, she has no idea that you're on here right now. Send it in perfect timing.
That worked.
That's crazy. I'll try to make this as short as possible. But whether you read this on the pod or not, I need to put call Susan on my to-do list. So I think we've had something going on in our house for a little over a year, maybe. Lights flickering, unexplained ceiling fans deciding to be permanently on or off no matter what we did, wall switch, remote, manual fan switch, etc. We even had an electrician come out because we were switching the one fan to a light instead, and they said that there was no explanation for why this would have been going on because all of the wiring was totally fine. Biggest thing was that a friend's phone went missing in our house. We tore this house apart twice. He was leaving to go back home to Europe. Find My iPhone or whatever kept saying it was here. We pinged it, we called it, and nothing. 2 weeks later, after asking for the phone to be returned, just vaguely to my house ghost, it showed up. This sounds weird, but it's relevant. I promise. It's not weird. It's so relevant. Literally, Susan says all the time. You just ask like for it.
That's right. If it's rightfully yours, it can't be lost.
Yeah, exactly. I drive a golf cart to and from the barn 2 to 4 times a day, 6 days a week on a super bumpy, pothole-riddled dirt path, and the phone showed up sitting on that little flat space between the front seat and the back seat of the golf cart. My dachshund has nearly been bounced off of that little flat spot onto the road. There is no way that this phone was sitting there for 2 weeks just bumping along that path totally fine. So thankful it was brought back, but like, what? Anyways, I feel like whatever it is seems playful. Then I got back, and at some point I listened to the doll episode, number 39, which is P the D. We will not even say that name. I didn't listen to it in my home and never with my kids around, but girls, just throwing that name out left and right. Did we say P the D's name?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, babe, it was episode 39. We didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, we were. Yeah. P-E-double-G.
Didn't even know.
We were really saying that.
And then it wasn't until the end where I think I was like, oh, and I think this haunts people if you listen.
Yeah, literally. So, just throwing that name out around left and right, not blaming you, but maybe put me on the list of people who were haunted by that episode. Susan, chime in. Either way, something that is PTD related is messing with me, or I need to check my chart. It all seemed trivial until it started adding up. I could also just be having a moment though. No, I don't know. It feels like the details don't matter because I just might be having a run of bad luck, but just curious. Sick kid, dog got diagnosed with cancer, kiddo got an infection, Helene hits Western North Carolina, where we live for my husband's work in the summer. Girls and Susan, I'm so far behind, but I hope that all of you are okay and your families and loved ones are okay from that storm. Thank you. We're all okay. Are you okay?
Hope you're doing well.
Yes.
It was a hard storm.
It was hard. Kids get another ear infection while on antibiotics. Entire kitchen cabinet comes crashing down. Different dog gets an ear infection. Unprecedented tornadoes hit our normal hometown before Milton. I now have an ear infection at 35 years old. Windshield cracks. Other weird injuries for myself, my family, and our animals. I just don't know. An amazing friend came and saged myself in the house somewhere in the middle of all of this and placed some crystals up for protection, but still there is something up. Am I bringing illness and something bad around with me? So sorry that this was so long, babe. It was not long at all. Love to you all and thank you for everything with love and light, but also stay creepy. Tracy, she, her. Did we cause Helene?
Well,
like,
not Helene, but
holy
you might have
shit.
let her have a little haunting. So
yeah.
After the clearing, did things get better? We need to know.
It says she says that it's been okay, but that's still not back.
So remember, you have dominion over all things. So when you clear, just tell it to get the hell out. It's not welcome. If it's not for your highest and best, it doesn't need to be there. And then your ghost isn't mad. Your ghost is really friendly, but it doesn't like the fact that someone has intruded on its space, its family.
Our bad, Tracy.
It's fucking our fault.
Yeah, so I was trying to be nice enough to blame the
We
girls.
should remove that episode.
Yeah, we should take that
Blame
fucking
the girls.
episode out
But
of there.
remember, you have dominion over all things. So tell it to get away. It's not welcome there. It's not welcome with your dogs, your property, your children, you, your husband, anything, vehicles. I'm glad the phone showed up, but that was your ghost. It was just kind of playing because it liked that guy from England.
Yeah.
England, right?
I don't know if she just said Europe, but I don't know where
okay.
from.
He's from England.
Now
I
all of a
guarantee
sudden
it.
he's
I'm like, he may not be, but from, okay.
Across the pond.
Yeah, across the pond. So I would definitely clear out your borders of your property and then bring white light and then a shroud around it. If that's too vague, just call me. We'll talk about all this stuff. But you have dominion over all things, so you can get rid of that, but your ghost don't get rid of. That set the intention that he's allowed to stay because he is very friendly, happy, and loves being with your family. And obviously, y'all aren't scared of him.
Yeah. Oh, so he's probably like, get this fucking P the D out of here.
Yeah,
like,
he doesn't
he's
like that.
pissed.
He's like, what the heck? I was fine.
he's
And
mad
now-
not at you, at us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't like the girls
You're
right
done
now.
listening to those.
He's like, do not
Stupid
ever listen to
girls.
those stupid bitches again.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Gotta get rid
hilarious.
of that. But yeah, so sage is good. Fill it in with some Palo Santos, and then you don't have to be nice to speak your truth and tell it to get out. Sometimes you have to be very firm. Okay, so matter of fact.
And we're sorry.
And
Yes,
we are
I didn't mean it.
so sorry.
We were just little girls.
If you want us to come to your property and get on that 4-wheeler and go around the corner with Sage,
We will
and
with a
sleep on
video
the back,
camera.
We
We'll come
will be
clear
there. And we will bring our whole film crew because that would be so funny.
Yeah, and we hope that you're doing well after the storm, that things are better,
Yes.
and call us and we'll schedule you.
Yeah. Please call Susan.
Call
because,
us and we'll schedule you.
Our bad.
That DM you wanted me to check on, it's funny. I thought we could, lighten up our mood here. It's from Sam, and Sam said, I feel better knowing this and figured you would too. What do you call a ghost boobies?
What do you call
What is it?
A paranormal entities. Entities. Paranormal entities.
And
That's so
cute.
funny.
Good job, Sam.
That was a good one. Thank you,
Thank you,
Sam.
Sam.
Sam, I thought you were sending us something like, hey, you guys need to look at this. And like something's wrong. And
That's why I cracked a smile when I was like, oh yeah, look. I was like, oh, okay.
Okay, good. We were just goobing around.
So the next one we have is from Creeps and Crimes email and the Reddit thread.
Yeah, it was a double dipper.
Double dipper.
And
Now I
I'm not
have to
going to
make
say
sure
your
we
name because
talk.
I think you're anonymous.
Yeah, anonymous.
Yeah, and there I like put your whole email on, and then I was on the Reddit, and I put the Reddit one on. I was like, hold the fuck up.
Wait a second.
I know this story. Yeah.
Yeah. This is from the Susan Stories flag, anonymous, she, her, email title, I was possessed, and Reddit title, boyfriend's family made me see things. Clickbait, I love
Clickbaited
it.
us. Yeah.
Hi, chicas. Anonymous, she, her from Florida. It's one hell of a drug. Literally. That's how they spelled it out.
Yeah.
I hope I clickbaited the fuck out of you guys. LMFAO. I'm so excited for season 5. I have sent in so many emails, but they were so lame because they didn't make it on the creepy accounts. It doesn't mean they were lame.
It doesn't.
It
It doesn't
means
mean-
that you didn't catch us on the last minute note call.
It means that you were on the #1 page when we were panically going through it. Okay.
Send them in late.
Late is
Late.
Always late.
Because
Late
guess
is the
what we're going to
secret.
be is late. LATE, babes.
Yeah, not the first one because
No.
that's not going to get it.
Yeah.
Nope.
But this one is going to be good as fuck, I promise. I wanted to make this submission about a numerous amount of things that I feel like people can relate to. First things first, I have chronic sleep paralysis. I'm saying this like it's a condition and I'm suffering from it, but I think I have put the pieces together and know why I have it a lot. A previous story was read on a creepy account about my roommate and me watching a scary movie, and we went outside to calm down, which we were smoking weed, and you guys guessed it. Anyway, let me stop yapping. So I do have sleep paralysis a little too much than I'd like. I also feel like I get it more often than most people. It's pretty much the same thing every time. I fall asleep, wake up a few hours later, looking around my room, stuck either on my stomach or on my back and unable to move at all. Sometimes I feel a presence in my room and sometimes I don't. Now to the connection that I've made. I have been dating my boyfriend for about 10 months now. He spends the night sometimes and knows when I have sleep paralysis, and one time tried kicking me to get me out of it. LOL. Anyway, my boyfriend's family is very spiritually inclined. And when I mean very, I mean vary. I have been told a couple stories, and of course I'm going to tell you guys because I don't have any friends and you guys are my besties. The first story I was told was from his sister. She told me that they have a psychic in their family, and she told her that she was going to have a son. The following year, she was pregnant with my sweet little nephew.
Aww.
She has also told numerous other family members the same thing. And what do you know? Shortly after, they have gotten pregnant. The second story was something both my boyfriend and his sister told me. The psychic in their family told them that my boyfriend was going to be happy soon. To preface this, my boyfriend was in a 3-year toxic relationship with the most horrible person in the entire world, and she still is. I have those stories for a different time as they don't relate to this except for she might be the devil.
Ames. Right now on Reddit. Go right now, Ames.
Am I missing something? The psychic told my boyfriend, this was before we met, she told him that he was going to have a girlfriend with green eyes. And they'd then have a baby with green eyes, and he would be successful, and he would have a black truck and a beautiful home. I do have green eyes, and I'm not pregnant yet. And nor does he have a black truck or a beautiful home yet. I do believe this is true because we were at one of his family's birthday parties, and she was there and was talking to my boyfriend. And as I walked by, she asked if that was me, as in if I was his girlfriend. And he said yes. And she said, that's her. That's the one.
Okay. The psychic said that.
Yes.
Yes.
It gives me chills thinking about it. The third story. So my boyfriend's mom and her boyfriend have been together for about 10 years. They're basically married, you know? Well, there was a point that they were going through a hard time and decided to take a break. His mom's boyfriend left and stayed at a hotel while his mom stayed home. After that time period, he returned home with all of his stuff and they were working things out. He was sleeping on the couch and she was sleeping in the bedroom when she woke up screaming, saying she saw something standing over his suitcase. She said that it was a dark, evil spirit that he had carried home, and she proceeded to take everything out and cleanse it. Since then, I have not heard anything about him having evil spirits, but I do believe that she probably cleaned the fuck out of his spirit and cleared him of all of it. Now you bitches are probably thinking, what the fuck did she mean by what does she mean she put the pieces together? Well, I'd just like to say I do believe in God and I respect all religions and religious views anyone has. I feel like since being with my boyfriend, I have had more frequent sleep paralysis incidents. I do feel like his family brings that out of me. I do not know the correct term for it, but he basically opens up more of my spiritual side. It's really hard to explore it when Christianity is so against it and sees it as a witchcraft and a sin. I do feel like a lot of people who grow up with super religious parents relate to everything that I'm saying. I feel like I should just take the opportunity and talk to Susan and see if anything comes out of it, especially since listening to everyone else's story about similar experiences. Anyway, that's the end. I have so many stories about my past loved ones sending me messages. Also, I take every opportunity to advertise the pod because I want to see you ladies live. Sorry for the yapping and bad grammar, but I know you guys get it. LOL. Okay, love you. Bye. Anonymous.
Okay.
So we want to see them live too. So keep pushing.
Keep
the pod.
yapping.
Keep yapping.
Keep yapping.
So I understand how everybody says it's demonic and evil and witchcraft, but you're getting messages from your loved ones that let you know they're loved ones. It's not demonic, evil, and witchcraft. The Bible says there will be people who know. Everybody has abilities. Some people just stretch those abilities and learn to use them differently. So don't fall into you can't do that, or you can't listen to that, or you can't be that.
Right.
Because of how other people think.
Right.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Because I could use what I do for all darkness, but I don't. I'm of love and light, and I tell all my clients that. So don't fall into that. Know that it's of love and light, and the Bible says there will be people who know, and you can use it for love and light and helpful, because most of the things that I do give people a better feeling, such a relief. They know they're loved. They know what's going on and what happened, whether it's from a loved one, what's going on in their family. But you can't fall into what they say, because I'm going to burn in hell, I'm a witch. You know, you have to get over that and know that I'm of love and light, not of the demonic stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I feel like a lot of our listeners struggle with that.
Yeah, asking those
religious
questions.
aspect with the spirituality and like how
and it was a
you
big
can
deal
separate
for like even like you and for me, like even for you back in the day to like
definitely.
you know come to terms with it. And then for me it was being like, you know, I had a mom that was always really open to this and like talked about it a lot and has gifts and like knew that I had gifts, so she never wanted to make me feel weird about it, but at the same time like hey, don't bring that up around your grandma.
Yeah, don't bring it up in front of people.
Don't tell Mama about this.
Yeah. And so you just kind of have to step out and say, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I do.
As long as you're doing it with people like Susan
Yes.
that are of white light and pink love and within
definitely.
the light of God. There, and we actually, one of the questions that we're going to be going into depth on Piping Hot Goss is someone asked, like, you know, is there a religious, like, is there a God
I believe in God.
Exactly. And,
I don't care if you're
and
God.
how do you, and they were like, how do you use God in your readings? And me and you have had this conversation,
we
but
have.
they haven't. So yeah.
I believe in God, whether you're God, you call him the divine, the universe, source, whatever. I believe in God.
Me too.
That higher power. You know, whatever your higher power is fine. I mean, but you can't be offended if I say God because that's how I am.
That's how you
know.
see. Yeah.
But that's how, however that looks for you is fine as long as you know there's a higher being. And so the family members that have the psychic in them, you know, those are all real because we all got chills while you were talking about it, and we all knew that that was true. And patience, time is relative. It's a little different on the other side than here, but it'll all work out like it's supposed to. And when you call me and schedule with Ellen, we'll have a further conversation about that.
Right. No, because when she was like, that's the one, I was like, yeah.
Well, yeah.
The whole list of and the way that you said yet, I'm like, you both know.
Yeah.
It's like when I met Logan, like I just knew, like that. I just knew that's why.
And also with the sleep paralysis, like I feel like I get more often do I experience sleep paralysis based off of the buildings that I'm sleeping in.
Yes.
And I was going to say the stuff that he brought home from the hotel, but you said she cleansed and cleared it. Yes, because that was shit she brought home from a hotel. It's kind of like an apartment. When you have apartment buildings, you have everybody's energy because from above and below and the sides, wherever that energy is, you can't completely clear it. And the same goes for a hotel. Whoever was there, whatever they left, and all the rooms are adjacent. They're all touching.
Right.
So it's the same thing. So, but yes, I'd look forward to speaking to you.
I'm excited to hear more.
Yes.
You have to write back in after you read with Susan because Susan doesn't cross-pollinate. She doesn't tell us anything. Damn it.
Yeah, I don't share your reading.
We're like, hey, someone from Patreon said they had a reading. She's like, I know nothing. I don't know their names.
We don't share readings. We share lessons.
Exactly.
And you never say whose lesson it was.
Yeah. She's good about it. We're like, Susan, come on. They would want us to know. They would want us to know.
They'll write it in next week then.
Yeah,
That's fine.
We're
Write
gonna
it in next week.
We actually did. A lot of you guys wrote in about your experiences with Susan.
And I'm grateful.
And I was like, I
appreciative.
would read them on here today just so you could get them. But then I was like, you know, I do want to help the people that haven't, that want to come and have a reading with you and haven't yet.
Yeah.
So don't worry. We will get to your stories of your sessions with Susan. We love hearing those on the creepy accounts. But the next one we have, thank you so much for sending that in. Love you too. The next one we have is from the creepy account email. This was sent in from Stephanie using she, her pronouns, and it is titled In Honor of My Dad.
Aw.
Hello, creepy ladies.
Hola. Hey
My name is Stephanie, she, her pronouns, and feel free to use my name. Thanks, babe. It is the first time for me writing in, but I'm a long-time listener. I found you guys searching for spooky podcast and my love of ghost stories. I, too, am a Tennessean, Middle Tennessee, but born and raised in San Diego. So I have always been in touch with my, quote, other side. I'm also a Pisces, so you know your girl got that sixth sense.
Period.
I am also almost 100% sure that my family comes from a line of some kind of spiritually inclined women. My mom can literally give advice on how we should handle a situation or advice on stuff and be dead on. It drives me nuts. I have other abilities too, but as my sister always yells at me about how I am not open enough to be like them, and I should be. Anyways, to my creepy account, because I will be a freaking chatty Cathy if I do not stop now. My dad passed away of lung cancer 2 years ago this month, and in honor of him, I will tell his story. I will say as a preface to his story, he comes to visit a lot in my dreams, but I miss him so much. He was just the largest man in my life and an awesome dad. He was an engine builder for Baja race cars.
That's cool.
That's so sick. If you ever look up Baja 500 or the Baja 1000, you will see what I'm talking about. His best friend had a race team called Terra Racing, and he built the engines for the cars.
That's so sick.
Well, one race, he and his best friend decided in their mid-60s it was going to be a good idea to be the chase car. This means these two men have to stay up for 48 to 72 hours straight, monitoring and chasing the race car in case the car broke down or the drivers were in distress. These races take you into parts of Mexico where the deserts are dark and dangerous. There are no villages and no life other than the wildlife. If you break down, you better pray that you have a satellite phone and know how to build a fire. The sand is silt-like. It is easy to become a victim of the desert. My dad was telling me that you will see things out there that you will never speak of again. People that don't look like people, aka S-dubs. Only love and light, get out of here. Okay. Animals the size of bears and what he believed to be spirits that were wandering. The one thing that stuck with my dad the most was the second night that they were chasing. He said it was smack dead in the middle of the night and in the middle of the desert. They were driving through the desert terrain and the lights of the chase car crested a small hill. He said on top of this hill stood death, the literal Grim Reaper.
Yeah, that makes me sick.
My dad said he saw it plain as day. There, maybe just 15 feet in front of him. A tall figure in a cloak holding a staff. I have chills all over my body. He said that you could not see a face, only that the head slightly turned to look at the truck as the lights hit it. My dad said that he turned to his best friend and said, "Did you?" And the best friend said, "Yep." And they never spoke of it again. That is it for this email. Ooh. What? Oh my God, Stephanie. That is it for this email, ladies, as I feel like I have talked your damn ears off already.
She stopped
Keep talking to me.
Sentence.
But I hope to write again soon with more tales of how in our last house we had a mimic that tried to lure my youngest daughter out of the house at 3 a.m.
Oh my God.
How fairies used to leave me presents, but I would not accept them because they scared the shit out of me. And how I used to be a correctionals officer at the most haunted as fuck jail. For now, stay creepy, bitches. Stephanie. P.S. I'm not a Patreon member yet because your girl is broke. So if you read it on there, let a girl know so that I can know that I'm just podcast famous. LOL. Love you, mean it. Stephanie, by the way, I did originally have you on the creepy account for Patreon that we're continuing.
Read the bottom.
And when I read that, I was like, let me put you on here. So I switched you with Brittany. Brittany, I'm sorry, but I knew you would be on Patreon. Yeah. Okay. So Stephanie.
Always accept fairies' gifts. They're not scary. Fairies, no, you have to accept their gifts, okay? That's the last thing you said. Other than that was when the email ended, then you went on about the fairies. So please accept their gifts because they, in your case, they're of love and light and they're flitting everywhere. They're all around.
I've been seeing a lot of fairy circles lately.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody
I've never
else
seen
has.
anything.
There was 2 in my backyard. They went away the next
some
day.
in your backyard where you live, though.
You have a fairy gift.
Well,
Because they were.
I
at your
don't
house.
venture out because there's a bunch of dog shit out there.
True. Yeah,
Me and Alan were talking about that.
Tell
Once
them
every
to-
2 months.
Tell them move to the side of the house then so you can see.
Yeah, so you can see the fairy gifts.
So you can see them.
Tell them to
that's
put it in
funny.
Susie's garden.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where they all are.
That's where they all
Well,
live.
then
They're just
tell
coming
them.
over.
They
Yeah.
venture,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yes, but
Okay.
just tell them so you can find them.
Sorry, Susan.
That's okay. That's okay. Always, always, always embrace your gifts. They're good. Be a little bit more bold with them as your sister and your mom are. Don't be afraid. Remember, you have control over them. So you have control what comes in. You have control what goes out. Just do it with ease and grace.
Yep. That's where we're going to put on Susan's
Ease
next
and grace.
shirt. Okay.
Ease and grace. You said your dad comes and talks to you all the time. So that's one of your gifts right there. So you're already embracing it. Just verbalize it a little bit more. It's hard, but you have to do it. Okay. The Grim Reaper was there. When she was reading it, I could see it.
I saw it.
Yeah,
Perfect,
plain
too.
as day. And
It gave me
so,
heart pain.
not good.
Yeah.
So know that your dad is around all the time, like you said, and just acknowledge him and talk to him. Don't just wait. You said he comes in your dreams. So when you think of him in the day, acknowledge him. Hey, I know you're there, and talk to him. Trust the first thing that comes to your head, the first thing that comes to your gut, the first thing you feel. because it's from your dad. So you're going to always feel that love. That was really cool, though. So honoring your dad by always remembering he doesn't want his memory forgotten. So talk to your sister, your mom, all about him. And you said he comes in your dreams. Set the intention when you go to sleep that you remember your dreams and you remember what he says to you when you wake up. Try to write it down before you put your feet on the ground, because as soon as you do, you're going to forget. Okay? And if you don't panic if it takes a couple times, and if you can't get him to talk to you that way, just be blatant and say, I want to know during the day. Tell me something. Let me hear something in my head. Thanks for writing in, Stephanie. I look forward to talking to you and finishing emails that you stopped in the end of the email. Stephanie. I'm like, hello.
Whenever she was describing the Grim Reaper, I was sick to my stomach because I was like, the Death Angel. Remember when I saw that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll never forget when you saw that
giant motherfucker with
That's so terrifying.
So, but just ask, are you here for, like, I used to say, are you here for me, Marty, Wayne, or Jacob? And they were like, no. And I'm like, okay, what do you want?
I'm like, there's a whole cemetery.
I'm like, what do you want?
Sir, the cemetery's that way.
Me, I was whipping out to go to work so late. And I'm like, what the fuck?
That late thing. I think that's a trend.
Yeah. I swear. I know.
So, but it was great to hear from you, Stephanie. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Stephanie. The last one from me, Taylor's got one more, is from Creepy Account email, Kylie, she, her pronouns. The title is The Man in the Hat and Talking with a Ghost. Ooh. Hey ladies, my name is Kylie, she, her, and you can use my name. I just want to give a quick thank you for getting me through my many long nights of working the night shift. Don't know what I would do without y'all, for real. I have two kind of long stories, so I'm going to try and make them as short as I can. Starting off with the first one. From a young age, I don't even know when it had started. I remember seeing this man in a tall hat, like it was kind of giving Abraham Lincoln. I could never really see any facial features. It was more like a dark shadow outline. This went on for a little while, and my dad would have to come constantly to check my closets. This never really seemed like sleep paralysis, as I would wake up and move and then see this figure. Fast forward a couple years, and I hadn't seen him in a while. I was babysitting my cousin, and he was maybe 6 at the time. We were in his room, and he just randomly said, okay, you're gonna stay in there with the man in the hat that's in the closet. Shuts the light off and closes the door.
Nope.
The way I sprinted out of that room, I would have both. Have you seen the cartoons where they run through the door and it leaves the body figure? That would have been me.
That'd be me. Yep.
Okay, so fast forward like 10 years, and my mom and I are visiting a friend in Colorado, and we were staying in the guest bedroom. One night, it felt like I was still dreaming, but not. It was the weirdest feeling, and in my dream, I saw the man in the hat standing in the doorway of the bathroom. I was screaming in my dream, and I actually woke up sitting straight up in bed, actually screaming. My mom obviously woke up and looked at me like, what is going on? And I told her what happened, and we were both so freaked out. This is the last time I saw the man in the hat. He never felt evil or anything, just kind of there, lurking. And that's it for that story. Do you want to comment on that story?
I just feel like he was there to give her instruction and guidance and kind of some advice. He was
President Lincoln.
Yeah, he was never evil. And I do feel like there was a connection to Lincoln somewhere in their world.
Oh.
Yeah, because I'm like, the only other person I've ever had a reading with that Lincoln showed up is my husband, and he's in his council. And so, like, Lincoln shows up all the time. But it's cool because he only shows up for specific things with specific intentions and specific messages.
Wow.
So
that's cool.
What is he up to?
Where is he at?
Yeah, what's Abraham?
Do I have George Washington on this side?
Yeah. Who's behind me?
Yeah, like Lincoln, So, and a lot of times it was just if she would look back to where she was in her life, he was guiding. And giving advice.
That's cool.
That's really interesting. I wonder if there's like a tie to your husband and like the spiritual realm, because like I've never heard you even bring up someone like that. You know,
never have I ever had anybody else even mention him.
Yeah. And she was just describing, she was like kind of like Abraham Lincoln.
And Marty's is completely different because like the Ford Theater had like rows that go up like this. And there's like hundreds of people in Marty's reading and they just light up, and Lincoln's always in the front. Wow. Always. Every reading Marty's ever had, Lincoln is there.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, I've never even.
What's it called? What'd you just call it? The room?
The Ford Theater?
No, but like what did you just call that? The council. What's my council look like? Where am I at? What's my location? Zone in.
His council has more than anybody because Marty only
He's in the Ford Theater.
Yeah, his is always at the Ford Theater with hundreds of people in those rows, and they light up when he has something. Here I'm telling my husband's deepest, darkest, right? But nobody ever has that many, like in a council. And he probably only gets read twice a year because his readings are like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because that's how he processes.
Yeah.
So all these people light up and he comes, you know, and
That's so cool.
He's always there.
All right. For the rest of hers. So this one takes place in a cemetery. My sister used to work with this guy that was basically a ghost hunter and would go to all of these haunted places like the Velisca house, the Sally house, etc. He's actually written several books about his experiences that are insane. Anyway, as I am a fellow lover of anything creepy, I begged my sister to ask him to take us on a ghost hunt. Mm-hmm. So me, my sister, my dad, and him all went to the cemetery in small town Taylorville, Illinois. Oh. On Halloween, I might add, to the ghost hunt.
Taylarville? Yeah. Okay.
O-R. The whole drive down, which was about 45 minutes from where we live, he was telling us all kinds of stories and occurrences that he experienced at the cemetery we were going to. So we get there, set up camp near the back of the cemetery, and he sets up a few recorders where there was a known activity. He kind of splits me and my sister up because he said he was testing a theory. He started with me first and just asked me to come over and stand by this grave. So I walk over. I don't look at the grave or anything. I just stand there. Immediately, I just started crying and just felt overall really sad, which is actually so weird for me because I am not an emotional person at all. So I'm like, okay, what is going on? He then calls my sister over and has her do the same thing. And let me just say, she was not close to me and would not have known how I reacted. He asked her how she was feeling, and she just says that she's feeling really sad, really emotional. He explains to us that this is the grave of a little boy who passed away in a car accident. And anytime he has women with him when he's been at the cemetery, the same things happen to them, and they either cry or just feel overall sadness standing by his grave. On his headstone was a picture of him in his little baseball uniform holding a bat. Remember this for later. The rest of the night is pretty uneventful, so we pack up and head back to the car. We're putting the stuff in the truck and notice a bat back there, so we ask like, hey, what's that for? And he just answers that he has it because some people do drugs, I guess, in the cemetery parking lot. So he has it just in case. Thankfully, he was still recording. And later, after going through all the recordings, you can hear us all talking about it and mentioning the bat. And you can hear a little voice, clear as day, say, "Can I swing it?" We were all so shocked at how clear this was, and I wholeheartedly believe it was the little boy. All right, well, that's it. And I'm not proofreading, so hopefully it sounds not awful. Okay, thanks, bye.
Damn it. You guys ending these stories mid-story.
Kylie.
I freak out.
Yeah. Kylie.
Hi, Kylie.
Hi, Kylie.
Yes, it is the little boy asking to swing the bat. He loves when the females are there because he misses his mom so much. Oh. And they feel his sadness separated from his mom, which is really cool because that is not at all what I got when you were reading that until you were finished. I was like, okay. And he just enjoys people visiting because it was very hard for his family to come. And I almost feel like they moved. So,
Aww.
Yeah. And then the man in the...
It is the same person.
It is the
we
same
split
person.
that one up and
we
got
split
sidetracked.
because I was like, wait, that's a different...
Yeah.
That's
but
really
cemeteries are neat. You can go and learn whole life stories of people just by being at the cemetery. It's
That's
really
so
neat.
cool.
That's so crazy.
I used to take my boys when...
Did you see the recent event in Knoxville?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
It was a dinner in the graveyard.
Oh, cool.
And it was lined up. It was like a huge table. It had like 150 guests.
Yeah.
And you got tickets for it. And you would go and get
Why
paid
didn't
for
we
your...
do this?
I didn't know about it.
I didn't know about it either.
Yeah,
we're
we
not
saw-
on the fucking newsletters.
We
for Knoxville.
saw a lot of our friends go and we're like, those bitches.
Why did
tell us?
4 people? Did you
Yeah.
see Lexi? And
Yep.
I was like, if no one
Jess.
fucking think like, let me call Creeps and Crimes. You know?
Yeah.
Angel wings and
Yeah.
yelling thing.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? You know what? We should organize our own.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm like, we need to go to a dinner in
That
the
would
cemetery.
be a fucking iconic first little meeting thing that
Show.
we organized.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
That would be iconic. Thank you so much, Kylie. And we're going to move on to the last one for this episode. And it is from Lisa using she, her pronouns. And this is from our creepy account email. And the title of it is Creepy Accounts, I Think So. Now, let me tell you about this, Lisa. This is actually the very last creepy account that I found. And I was going to put it in the Patreon episode, and that's when I found it. Skimmed through it. I said something about when I saw your name and I was getting down to the bottom. I was like, I need to read this on public because Susan is going to have something to say. And that's all that I had. Okay. So I don't know the full story because I just skimmed it, but here we go. Hey ladies, my name is Lisa, she, her. I've listened to you all's podcast from the very beginning. I'm a little OCD, so I didn't realize until later that you were suggesting that people skip the first few, but maybe it's the old in me. I'm 55. The older ones got me hooked. I have a bit of a long one. I'm a bit of a gabber, so buckle up. I will start with a bit of background. I've always felt that I didn't belong and was a little bit of a fraud. When I was quite young, I remember talking to my great grandpa who had passed away the month before in my bedroom one day. My mom got mad and yelled at me. I tried to insist that he was really there, but she insisted that I was just making the stories up. I knew at that point that people didn't see what I saw or felt. Growing up, I could tell who good people were and who bad people were, and I would warn my friends. They were always creeped out, but knew to trust my, quote, opinion. Growing up in small town Saskatchewan, is that how you say it? Saskatchewan.
It reminds me of Grown Ups. I'm from Saskatchewan.
Yeah. Saskatchewan, Canada. In the 80s, I learned to tamper my, quote, femtuition. I love that. Okay. Fast forward to 30 years ago, I met the most amazing man. Calm, gentle, and accepted me, oddities and all. He owned a house that was built in 1912. You see where I'm going, right? I moved in and I knew something was different right away. It all started with a small room in the basement. It's always the basement, right?
I was just going to say. It's always the basement,
always.
Girls.
I had collectible boxes and decided that I wanted to place them there to store. I went in with my first load and instantly felt huge anxiety and straight up terror. I dropped the boxes and ran up the stairs. My husband had to put the boxes in there, his only comment being, yeah, it's always kind of a creep room. I would never go into that basement at night. That room scared me. I would hear noises in there, bangings and thudding. As our kids were growing up, more things started to happen. There would be loud bangs against the basement door. It would seriously shake. It would freak our kids out, and I would have to tell them that senior spirits were teaching the newbies how to try and walk through the doors. I love
wonderful.
that.
That's wonderful that she did that.
so
a quick
good.
little classroom lesson.
It's just the newbies. Don't worry about them.
They're just not knowing what they're doing.
So whenever it happened, our youngest would say, well, that one sucks.
That one's got a couple more lessons.
Yeah, they're going to be there longer, Mom.
We would hear what we thought was a child jump off of our youngest son's bed and run down the hall. At one point, I wanted to find out the history of our old house, but all I could find was that it was moved into town from a farm. Okay, so the house was transported from a farm into town in the 70s, and they owned it until my husband bought it when they moved to a senior complex. Things started getting really bad, so I consulted a friend of a friend. I never told her anything, just that the vibes were off. She zeroed in on that basement room, surprise, surprise, and talked to some woman in there. When she left, she gave me everything to sage the house, opened up all the windows, state your intentions, start in the basement, and sage the hell out of every corner. I did every floor. Not sure my husband understood it, but his love just knew I felt things that he didn't. After that, things were very calm in our house, and it was amazing. Then, last December, I was getting my coffee ready for my commute to work. My husband worked away a lot and liked to live in our travel trailer. He hated hotels. I suddenly smelled cigarette smoke. Nobody was allowed to smoke in my house. I stopped and I smelled it again. I said my husband's name out loud and the smell dissipated. I thought I should call him, but felt that he would already be at work and would probably laugh at me. Well, 2.5 hours later, I looked up from my desk at work and I saw 2 RCMP officers walking towards me. Those words will forever haunt me. We regret to inform you. My amazing husband of 25 years was gone. We aren't religious and gave him the send-off that we knew that he would appreciate. 3 months later, my oldest son and his wife came to tell me that they are expecting. I was thrilled, and I knew if my husband were here, he would have been thrilled. That night I was sleeping and I heard a creak in the hall that woke me up. My instant reaction was, you're dreaming. But I heard another creak and the hall light came on. I sat up in bed and I thought, nope, you aren't sleeping and someone is in your house when this tall figure walked into my room and around my bed. It was my husband. I said, how is this even possible? How are you here? He just sat down on the side of the bed and I felt the bed sag. He turned and he looked at me and he smiled. I reached out to touch him and I woke up alone. The weirdest thing was that light in the hall. It was still on and it was off when I went to bed. I never ever sleep with the hall light on, so I can't explain that. I can. He turned it on.
Yeah.
I have decided it's time for me to move and give a family the chance to enjoy this huge house. I am doing some improvements, and I believe that my husband is here letting me know that he agrees with and doesn't like. At the beginning of this week, my youngest told me that he made an offer on a home, and he and his partner were going to get married in December. All I could say is my baby is finally growing up.
Aww.
That night, I lit a candle beside my late husband's picture and a small heart that carries his ashes. I told him the boys are doing good and I'm ready. And I'm ready to start a new chapter. The candle wick flared up really bright for a short while and then it went back down. I'm thinking it was him saying that it was okay and that his job was done. As an afterthought, I should let you know that I am not able to listen to some of your podcasts in my home. It seems to cause some unrest. And so you guys are a commuting podcast and work exclusively.
That's what we do best.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you do, ladies. This is the first platform that I have found since my husband passed that I really feel at home and don't feel like such a fraud. You may be young enough to be my daughters, but keep true, ladies.
Oh,
Let me tell you something.
Okay, so we're all crying.
Lisa,
all
you
four of
fucked
us.
me up. Lisa, damn.
So we're all four crying, Lisa. We're sorry for your loss.
so sorry.
Just remember, 55 is not old. I'm older than that. That's the first things on your thing. And we are all crying, all of us. How blessed you are that you know your husband's there and got to see him. And remember that just because his job is done doesn't mean he won't be there. It is a good decision to sell the house and let a family have it and enjoy it. Just remember to thank the house for the love and the time that you got to be there and enjoy it. And it's time for another family to have it. Yeah. Okay, girls, quit. I have to be able to talk.
I know, me and
no
Ellen are
tears
messes over here.
No tears. He definitely was involved in the pregnancy. Made sure that because you're going to be able to have that as a reminder of him. The oddities in the house were a lot of lessons, meaning that he knew you were open to that. And that's part of the reason y'all got together is because you fit so well. And then the oddities in the house, some of them were needing to be gone and some of them would stay. But you got rid of the ones that needed to. I love the way that you told your child that those are just the newbies.
Yeah.
Newbies learning. And,
I love that.
And keep that because your grandchild's going to learn. I mean, there will be things that Alice hears that other grandchildren don't hear. And
Yep.
she already does because she sits in there with me now. She plays the healing room.
She was at her Auntie Creeps and Crimes house.
Yes, I mean, she knows.
Are you going to adapt that, Susan?
Yeah.
That they just are learning.
The newbies are learning just, yeah, I might adopt that. So
Yeah.
if I do, thank you very much. And then the cigarette smoke was just him letting you know that he was leaving because you were already worried. And he's very honored that you acknowledged that. He's sorry that it had to go that way. And don't doubt yourself because you said, I was going to call and I didn't, figuring he'd already be at work. But it's okay. Don't have guilt about that. We're going to stop there, and you call me if you want to talk further about it because this is a platform out for everybody, and we don't need to go that far into it.
She's got like 3 pages of notes on you, Lisa.
Yeah, I mean, I think more. I think about 5 or 6.
I was just like,
I mean, I was like, Susan's still writing. Oh my God.
sobbing and writing.
yeah, I was like, well, I don't want to forget because y'all are talking.
Yeah.
And then I'm following to the next thing, and I'm like, oh, I got to remember to say this. I got to remember to say that.
Yeah.
So I just scribble.
Lisa, when I skimmed through, you just your energy reading reminded me of Susan. Like
Yeah,
you guys
so-
have very similar vibes about you.
And she wasn't even like a Susan story.
Nothing.
Like, read
It was
this for
just
Susan.
Yeah.
It was sent actually like weeks ago, and I
Yeah.
just came across it.
You're like,
and my
Susan
mother-in-law's
needs to hear
name
this.
is Lisa, and it just caught my eye, and I was
So
like,
there
let me
you go.
open that.
We
And
were
then-
supposed to connect
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, it was perfect. Yeah,
I love that.
So
Well,
thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you
And
so
I look
much,
forward
Lisa.
to hearing from you.
Please tell us what Susan says because she's never going to tell us. But thank you guys so much to everyone that wrote in through the email, which is creepsandcrimes.ca@gmail.com, where you can submit your creepy crimey stories for us to read on the Creepy Account episodes. Also, Morgan, where else can they do what?
You can do it on Reddit. Reddit thread is Creeps and Crimes. Use our little flags. We have creepy accounts. We have creepy linguinis if you want to be a creative writer. And we have stories for Susan.
Yes. So you guys head over there and submit your stories if you haven't already. If you need to call Susan, where can they call you at, Susan?
704-562-3476. You can text, and Ellen will be glad to talk to you and schedule. And if there's any questions that you have, she does ask me. She's just not randomly pulling shit out of the sky. So, yeah, just feel free. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. And I know we always say call Susan, but it should be text Susan. But call Susan
Call Susan rings
Call
so
Susan's
much better.
It just rolls right off the tongue.
Because after we text and schedule, we do call.
We do call. That's the whole point.
End result is we do call. We FaceTime. Actually.
No matter wherever you are, you can do call.
Leave a voicemail.
Yeah, you can leave a voicemail.
You leave a
if you feel
voicemail,
like you have to
text.
call, leave a voicemail. We will get back to you.
One day Alice is going to be picking up that phone. Hello?
Are you calling for my Grammy? Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Just hear Adele saying hello from the other side.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's what my ringtone is. Hello from the other side.
Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious, Susan.
Yeah. Well, it just works.
It does. It's honestly
funny.
so on brand for you.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, we'll have to ask Adele. Can we have a shirt? that
Yeah,
says
no,
that?
Hello from the other side.
What if we went to Las Vegas and ran into Adele and we're like, babe, we have a whole thing for you.
Can we just get your permission just real quick?
Just a little pitch.
Just
So,
borrow that
Adele,
trademark.
when you're listening to Creeps and Crimes,
Exactly.
I'm Susan at Angel Wings and Healing Things, and Hello from the Other Side is very perfect.
Yeah.
I would love to read
We
you.
all love it.
I would love to
Okay,
read
guys.
you.
We
will continue this
gonna take this party
to Patreon.
Patreon.
So tune into
you at
episode
Patreon.
74 of Patreon. And Susan, thanks for joining us.
Thank y'all for having me.
Thanks
We'll
for
see y'all on
joining
Patreon.
us.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.